cameras in the front, cruising down the freeway in the hot, hot sun. Suddenly red blue lights flash us from behind. Loud voice booming, please step out onto the line. Ballet bridge words of comfort, Cena just hides her eyes. Policeman taps the shades, is that a Chevy 69? How bizarre. How bizarre, how bizarre. Destination unknown as we're pulling for some gas. Officially placed a poster, reveals a smile from the pack. Elephants and acrobats, lion, snakes, monkey. Billy speaks righteous, Sister Cena says funky. How bizarre. How bizarre, how bizarre.
Ooh baby, it's making me crazy. It's making me crazy. Every time I look around. Every time I look around.
Every time I look around.
Every time I look around. It's in my face.
Ringmaster steps up, says the elephants left town. People jump and jive and the clowns are stuck around. TV news and cameras, there's choppers in the sky. Marines, police, reporters ask where, for and why. Billy yells, we're out of here. Cena says right on. Making moves and starting grooves before they knew we were gone. Jumped into the Chevy, headed for big lights. Wanna know the rest? Hey, by the rights, how bizarre. How bizarre, how bizarre.
Ooh baby, it's making me crazy. It's making me crazy. Every time I look around. Every time I look around.
Every time I look around.
Every time I look around. It's in my face. It's in my face. It's making me crazy. Every time I look around. Every time I look around.
Every time I look around.
Every in my face. Ooh baby, it's making me crazy. It's making me crazy. Every time I look around. Every time I look around. Every time I look around. It's in my face.
Ziggy, I fuck up my whole world. Pause when she talk, nothing like, oh girl. Scary and sporty. Tell her what I want, what I really, really want is a Spice Girl. Ziggy, I fuck up my whole world. Pause when she talk, nothing like, oh girl. Scary and sporty. Tell her what I want, what I really, really want is a Spice Girl. Freaking little mama. Said she on a diet, so she only eat bananas. Always in your prime, other women don't align. And when I'm off work, then you know it's bedtime, so let's go. Let's hit the I-5. Don't waste no downtime. I don't never like on bougie, that's the type that wanna sue me. And when we get together, hit it like Viva forever. I wanna know, is this real or fake? Do I have a chance or am I paving ways? I'm trying to find a reason not to say your name. Like you, there's no look-alike. I need a Spice Girl. Ziggy, I fuck up my whole world. Pop. Airy and sporty. Tell her what I want, what I really, really want is a Spice Girl. Ziggy, I fuck up my whole world. Posh when she talk nothing like old girl. Scary and sporty. Tell her what I want, what I really, really want is a British girl. Got a show in London. Won't you come around? Put you on the list, it's nothing. You say you gotta work, cause you're studying for masters. Yeah, these women fine, but only on the camera. They deceiving, super thieving. They finish come and go, like when they weaving. I never listen to the scheming type. Sporty, scary, ginger spice. I wanna know, is this real or fake? Do I have a chance or am I paving ways? I'm trying to find a reason not to say your name. Like you, there's no look alike. I need a spice girl. Ziggy, I fuck up my whole world. Posh when she talk nothing like old girl. Scary and sporty. Tell her what I want, what I really, really. My whole world. Posh when she talk nothing like old girl. Scary and sporty. Tell her what I want, what I really, really want is a my girl's a spice girl. Her world's in my world. And most of all, she's fine to me. In line with the infatuation I feel. I need a spice girl.
Don't say goodbye, smell you later.
Nah, I can't. I don't wanna end the season on a bad episode, nigga.
Bouncing off things and you don't know how you fall. Your power is drained, so you cannot go through all. You're caught in this matrix, don't know where you play it. You made it could be your favorite. You can make it your friend.
Are we still friends? Are we still friends? Are we still friends? Oh. Check it.
The dance that you're doing is dumb. How they do where you from? Hey, sticking out your tongue, girl, but you know you're too young. A bunch of girls do it and the shit look fun. That's how they do it where we from. Hey, you know it don't start till 1. That's how they do it where they from.
I'm so faded, no exaggeration. Back breaking like a percolation. Boys to the yard for some hip spanking. Way I make it drop down like an animation. Can't take it, them chicks be faking. Y'all still sleep, better stay awakened. Hot new dance for the hood to make it. Make the don't move fast, make you think you're drinking. Head to the flow, don't collect that dough. You better huddle up, cause the beat's so cold. Pop that, cock and reload. This another hit, I got an ace in her. Keep that, you got a small stack, player, you can keep that. I'm a Big Mac, make you wanna eat that. Like, yak it to the yak. Junk in the trunk, make it pumps in the bump. Girls wanna have fun, make you sticking out your tongue.
The dance that you're doing is dumb. How they do where you from? Hey, sticking out your tongue, girl, but you know you're too young. A bunch of girls do it and the shit look fun. That's how they do it where we from. Hey, you know it don't start till 1. That's how they do it where they from.
I come into this bitch like liquid. Drip, drip, in the business. Click, click, get your picture. Hermes, trips against this. Witness, and get lifted. Basic, nigga, I was born in the basement. Shape shift. I am so different than y'all, so far apart. The way that I balance the bars, I never fall. And if I do, I just call the almighty yellow star. God, lyrically, I'm Optimus Prime. The car I drive, love how I ride. When I go by, smoking your eye. So open your eyes, the joke's on you guys. And you ain't gotta be a mason to see through some of this shit on occasion.
The dance that you're doing is dumb. How they do where you from? Hey, sticking out your tongue, girl, but you know you're too young. A bunch of girls do it and the shit look fun. That's how they do it where we from. Hey, you know it don't start till 1. That's how they do it where they from.
I'm like, make a new track, make them fall on they crack. Give them a slap appetizer and stack up so fat in the back, make the boys all collapse. Yeah, when I rap, that be all on my jack. Boys wanna tap on this pussy cat. Got a new idea, let me switch it. Man, I'm so futuristic. Big lips and big hips. Getting these Benjamins, new car whipping it on. I'm so far ahead of y'all. Man, I'm on top of the stars. I don't care none of your all. Blah, 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 blah. You best to go rewrite your balls.
How they do it where you from? How they do it where you from? That's how they do it where we from. That's how they do it where they from. How they do it where you from? How they do it where you from? That's how they do it where we from. That's how they do it where they from.
Whoa, I want to where I can go when you're not around, when I'm feeling down. So won't you stay for a moment so I can say I need you so, 'cause right now you know that nothing hears me, and I'm obsessed with you. Then I fell to the ground, and she smiled at me and said, you cry, you don't
don't have to feel this emptiness. She said, I love you till the day that I die. Well, maybe she's right, 'cause I don't wanna feel like I'm not me. And to be honest, I don't even know why I let myself get down in the first place. Trying to keep my mind happy. Sunflowers still moving. Until the sun seems through my eyes. Take it down, 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 down. Take it down, 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 down. Waiting for a minute till the sun seems through my eyes. You know you need to get yourself to sleep and dream a dream of you and I. There's no need to keep an open eye. I promise I'm the one for you. Just let me hold you in these arms tonight. I'm like and I fucked my shit up too many times. Why would I let myself get down in the first place? Trying to keep my mind happy. Sunflowers still moving out. Waiting for a minute till the sun seems through my eyes. Take it down, 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 down. Take it down, 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 down. Waiting for a minute till the sun seems through my eyes. And so she sat me down. Need to get down or feel empty inside. And then told me that she'll love me for as long as she's alive. And well, maybe she's right, 'cause I hate it when I feel like I'm not me. See, I honestly don't even know why. I honestly don't even know why. Sunflowers still moving out. Waiting for a minute till the sun seems through my eyes. Take it down, 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 down. Take it down, 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 down. Waiting for a minute till the sun seems through my eyes.
WELOVE 108
FM.
Another summer. I know you got soul. Hey, listen if you're missing, y'all. Swinging while I'm singing. Hey, giving what you're getting. Knowing what I know in while the black band's sweating. In the rhythm I'm rolling. Gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey, our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. 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 We got to fight the designed to bounce with calcium that arrive. Designed to fill your mind now that you realize the prize arrives. We got to pump the stuff to make it tough. From the heart it's a start, a work of art to revolutionize, make a change, something strange. People, we are the same. No, we're not the same, cause we don't know the game. What we need is awareness. We can't get careless. You say, what is this? Our beloved, let's get down to business. Mental self-defense of fitness. Don't rush the show. You got to go what you know to make everybody see. got to fight the powers that be. Elvis was a hero to most, but he never meant shit to me. Is he straight out racist? The sucker was simple and plain. Motherfucking in John Wayne. Cause I'm black and I'm proud. I'm ready, I'm hyped, plus I'm amped. Most of my heroes don't appear in no stamp. Sample look that you look and find nothing but rednecks for 400 years if you check. Don't worry, be happy. Was a number one jam. Damn if I said you could slap me right here. Get it? Let's get this. We got to say, power to the people, no delay. Make everybody see. In order to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. Fight the power. Fight the power. Fight the power. We got to fight the powers that be.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our WTF show. Yay! It's Personal is a storytelling show based out of Los Angeles. When we could no longer perform on stage, we moved our show online, and now we're here. Or you're there. I'm here. It's all good. I'm Bob Guck, your host for the evening. All the performers you will see tonight wrote these original pieces with the theme WTF in mind. If you don't know what WTF means, ask a nephew. If you have already donated, thank you so much for your donation. 25% of all the proceeds we raise tonight will go to Fair Fight. Fair Fight is an organization that brings awareness to the public on election reform and advocates for election reform on all levels. If you would like to support our company at Fair Fight, you can send us a donation of any amount on Venmo at It's Personal On Stage, one word. Our small company is funded completely by ticket sales, so any amount is greatly appreciated while we are unable to put on theater shows. We are doing a giveaway that ends tomorrow. Go check out our Instagram post. You could win a homemade bar of soap. Look at that little beauty. Isn't that nice? Am Happy Soap. Get on Instagram now. While we invite our audience to step out of their comfort zones while watching our show, please be advised there are some topics discussed, such as sexual assault, that may be upsetting for some viewers to hear, so discretion is advised. So without further ado, let's get personal. First up, we have Frankie Bolda, who is performing with It's Personal for the first time. She is quarantined in Indianapolis, Indiana. Here is her piece, Stormy Weather.
I'm 17, and the rain is pelting the windshield of my boyfriend's blue Mercury Cougar at an alarming rate as we are careening into a ditch off of a gravel road, and we are silent. There's not a word. And I know that this is all my fault. Okay, to be fair, I'm not the one operating the vehicle. My boyfriend is, so technically I'm not the one at fault, but I could have avoided this if I had just listened to my gut and broken things off 3 days ago. See, he's pale, He's sweet. He's a little bit doughy, you know, Midwestern. And we've known each other for years. He's been a family friend, and he's a little bit milquetoast. But he's also about to go off to Ball State University, the gem of Muncie, Indiana. And in a short time after that, I'm also going to be leaving the state. And I'm just pondering this while we're sitting in the eye of a tornado in Indiana and just thinking about my choices. While I'm spiraling, I notice a pair of headlights in the rearview mirror, and it's a firefighter who lives just 200 yards that way. We barely missed his house, and he invites us to come inside so that we can wait out the storm with his family. And he goes off to put up power lines or save a cat. I'm going to be honest, I don't know what firefighters do in a tornado, but he went to do that. So we're sitting in the dark across from his very pale and quiet and judgmental family, you know, Midwestern. And their very Victorian demeanor, long nightgowns and such, and dark eyes, is making me question my choices and making me regret not listening to my gut. I'm 21. And recently I have moved back to Indiana from New York City because of a boyfriend. Okay, we all make mistakes. The bigger mistake is that I moved in with this boyfriend's parents. See, they spend their days inside drinking Natty Ice and smoking Marlboro cigarettes from Russia because apparently it's cheaper to buy them that way. I learned things. And they fight, and the alcohol makes it worse, and they fight angrier and louder. And on Sundays they wash the walls and do all of this cleaning, and the water that they use turns in this yellowish brown color that I'm sure is reminiscent of what the inside of their lungs looks like. And so I am gonna take a night off. I'm staying with the boyfriend, even though I know that I am not ever gonna be the most important thing to him, but I care about him, so I go over there. And even though he knows I don't like his family, and I go over there, and we're both studying on his bed, and the snow starts. And the snow keeps falling for 4 days. And I don't mind the snow, I'm used to it, but it's the ice that's the problem. The ice, it encapsulates just cars and streets and people, and we're trapped. We could have avoided all of this if I had just listened to my gut and not left New York. And it's March 2020, and I have been engaged to the wrong person for 11 months. He is, he's sweet, he's pale and a little doughy, you know, Midwestern. And he and I have only agreed on one thing since he proposed to me in a bathroom halfway between Indianapolis and Cincinnati, and that is to have a mutual friend of ours officiate this supposed wedding. It would be non-denominational and non-contentious. But the thing is, he's not the same person that he was a year ago or 5 years before that. And we met because of theater, and he was passionate about that. And now, because of legal reasons that I cannot disclose at this time, he hates theater and mocks me when I'm doing shows and working full time in a theater. And I feel like he despises me too. Bonus points. My younger sister is staying with us. And it is a 1-bedroom apartment. And so I can understand the frustration that he's feeling. But what I don't understand is that he lays down an ultimatum that I have to choose between her, my sibling, and him. And a pandemic is looming, and states are shutting down all around me, and people have already raided all of the store shelves for toilet paper and family-sized boxes of Cheez-Its. And to be honest, I don't want to be trapped. I don't want to be trapped with him. He's a negative person who mocks me and goes through gallon-sized bottles of wild turkey in one weekend, and it's tenuous. And it took a pandemic, but I called off my engagement. Why the fuck can't I just listen to myself? Why do I need a natural disaster to envelop everything before I can even trust myself to see what's right in front of my nose and just go with my basest instinct to run? I've kept myself so busy for so long that it takes utter chaos to just bring stillness. And it took the world shutting down, but I finally started to listen to my gut. I am building the best possible life for myself right now. In a pandemic when I wasn't looking, and I'm starting to care more about myself and then my passions, and I am taking naps, and oh my gosh, you should try it. And sometimes I go on a run, and sometimes I nap after that run. And by finally listening to myself, I accidentally have found a real flesh and blood person that I love. You know what? I'm going to keep listening to my gut because this feels fucking awesome.
Thank you, Frankie. Speaking of listening to your gut, my gut is saying that I want to be more involved with It's Personal. Did you know they have a Play of the Month club? Every month you read a play and join a discussion on the second Saturday of the month. We are getting spooky this month, obviously. You get to vote which play we should read, pick between Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None, or Stephen Malatrat's and Susan Hill's The Woman in Black. Voting starts tonight on our Instagram story. Next, we have Natalie Beisner, who performed with us for the first time last month. She is quarantined in Glassell Park, California. Her piece is called Easy. Take it away.
I've just completed my first ever blowjob, and the lucky recipient has left a shit stain on the beige polyester passenger seat of my beloved 99 Aquamarine Toyota Corolla. Admittedly, it's a small shit stain. A skid mark, really. But still, I'd always imagined my first taste of sex would be less wasteful, or, romantic even, or at least reciprocal. Also, less shit. I had definitely imagined less shit, like 0 grams of shit would have been a perfect amount. But I'm 22 and still technically a virgin, so beggars can't be choosers, I guess. Anyway, I like this guy. He's older, and I can't believe he's giving me the time of day. He's the first guy who's ever. But we've been hanging for a while, and I'm afraid he won't be patient much longer. Tonight, just now, after he extracted himself from myself, While he was pulling up his pants, he noticed the stain and pointed it out to me. We both kind of laughed. He a little more enthusiastically than me, maybe. He kissed me goodnight, got out of the Corolla, went inside. I sit for a sec because I need a minute to digest everything that just happened. Also, I think maybe he'll come back out with some paper towels and some Lysol or something. He doesn't. But I really, really like this guy. He gave me my first kiss a few weeks ago. Yes, at 22. And I just really want him to like me too. Sitting here alone in my Corolla, next to a shit stain, on this dark, deserted street, outside his mom's house, who I've never met but hope to soon. I wonder, was I any good? I remember a book someone gave me in high school once called How to Be a Sex Goddess. It suggested that for a sexy surprise, you suck ice before sucking dick. I definitely didn't do that though, but that's okay, right? I mean, it would have been weird for me to run into his mom's house real quick to grab some ice from her freezer and shove it in my mouth before running back out front to blow her sun in my Corolla. I hope I was good at it. I hope I stood out. I hope he texts me again. You know, he didn't actually say that he would, but he did kiss me goodnight. I always think people won't text me again, or kiss me for that matter. Even when someone invites me somewhere, I think they don't actually want me there. It's illogical, I know, and logically, I know it isn't true. I think, like in high school, for instance, I was asked to one dance in all 4 years. It was the only time I was asked out. It was for senior prom. On a Saturday night, he asked. I said yes. And by AP English Tuesday morning, we sat at the same table. He had to ask me again because I was just sitting there across from him pretending like nothing had happened. I didn't mean to. I just honestly had convinced myself that he had changed his mind or would change his mind. He didn't. But I come to every interaction certain that people hate me or will hate me or just won't really like me, which makes me act even more shy and quiet, which makes people think I'm stuck up or boring or that I don't like them, which makes them not like me or just never get to know me. And also, how do you act after a guy asks you to prom? Are you supposed to bring it up next first, or does he? And also, tonight, I had thought I would feel happy, or at least relieved that I'm a little less of a virgin than I was when I woke up this morning. But mostly I just feel the feeling of having been left, even if it's only for a little while. He will text me again, right? The silence, the stillness, the pronounced emptiness that leavers are always leaving in their wake. I wonder, as I've often wondered, how it is some women get boyfriends when I've never even had a date. I wonder, is it okay to give a BJ before ever getting said date? I wonder, why is it that I am 22 years old and still so behind? But really, I wonder, how hard will it be to get that shit stain out of my car seat? And is it morally acceptable to tell future passengers it's chocolate? Skid mark guy and I do eventually get our rocks off, literally. Because we both still live at home, we keep climbing this hill behind his house at night and trying to have sex up there. And the rocks keep digging into my back and my ass and my knees and my hands. And it's always cold and sticky on the way down. And also, how's this for anticlimactic? The physical act of sex hurts. Like, it's really painful. It takes us several nights of climbing and trying, and I'm secretly starting to worry there's actually something really wrong with me, but we do eventually get it done, and by it I mean me. With each thrust, I am pushed ever further away from being a cool girl. In fact, I think I'm in love. Until he suddenly decides to move away to work on a pot farm up north. I'm haunted by visions of hippie bitches who don't need makeup or ice and who probably actually prefer sex on the rocks. But he does come back to visit once. And while he's been away, I've forced myself to be with other people. So I'm very much looking forward to showing him how worldly and casual and sexual and fun and easy and low maintenance I am. Maybe he'll even decide to stay. But when he gets upset that I insist on using a condom this time, when he slams the door of my Corolla behind him, I lunge over the passenger seat, shit stain be damned. I fling open the door and I yell after him, "It's okay. We don't need to use a condom if you don't want to. Please just come back." I'm alone again on this same empty street outside his mom's house, who I've still never met. And this time I know he's not coming back. Except eventually he does. All guys do. They always come back. And I always let them.
Thank you, Natalie. Just a friendly reminder, if you want to support small business, theater, and fair fight, that you can Venmo us at It's Personal on Stage or go to our website to pay what you can. Even $1 makes a difference. Next up is Maren English. This is her second time performing for It's Personal. She is quarantined in Palos Verdes, California. Her piece is called Why Me?
So, here's the thing. I refuse to watch horror movies. And not in like a, oh, maybe if the lights are on and I have you to protect me. No. You will never get me to watch them. And it's not just because I'm like terrified of everything, including my own mortality and the fact that I can't save friends and family from their own sadness. Yes, I see a therapist. Why do you ask? It's also just because I've been in too many situations that feel like the beginning of a horror movie. Pretty much any genre of horror you can think of, I've probably experienced something in like a similar vein. Nothing horrible or terrible like bloody deaths or murderers on the phone being like, "Sally, I'm going to eat your face." I don't know what they say. But things that would happen at the beginning of the movie or that they talk about in the movie but that you don't actually see, that they use as lead up to like the big event. You tell me what kind of horror mood you're in. I can just pull out lore from my backstory with that same vibe and paint you a very similar word picture for free right here. Let's see. You're into that Slender Man kind of paranormal sort of horror movie. Sophomore year, Me and two of my friends are coming back from a frat party. Already the perfect setting for something weird to happen. I'm sober, one of my friends is a little bit drunk, and she keeps looking behind her as we're walking. And eventually she goes, Maren, I know this sounds crazy, but there's a Dementor behind us. I was like, that's not possible, but good effort. But I look behind me and there's this figure that's like shrouded in black, and they're far enough away that I can't see what this person looks like or what they're wearing or really anything about them as they're walking our way. So I'm like, okay, I retract my previous statement. How do we get Daniel Radcliffe on the phone? Then in front of us, we notice these two guys in suits just kind of standing around. And as we go to walk by them, they're like, hello, ladies. How would you like to meet a new up-and-coming musician? Which is a creative way to start a kidnapping. I will give them that. But then we turn around and the figure we'd seen before is here. And now we can see that he's like this 6'3" guy in an all-black morph suit with a black suit over that suit, black afro wig, black sunglasses. He's holding this Bible-looking book, which he did not open or explain, and yes, it does still haunt me. He smelled so much like marshmallows, I can't even explain it to you. So it turns out he's a DJ and a musician, and this look is just his whole, thing, his marketing thing. So he's not a slendy kidnapper or Dementor or anything like that. But right before we go, we find out his stage name, No Face Shadowman. Not Shadow Man, by the way. No, like how you would say the last name Johnson, Shadowman. As if when he's not like communing with ghosts, he like works part-time at an insurance firm. Point is, I think about that night like once a week. But you're more into that natural disaster or like creepy cabin in the woods kind of horror film. Lights up. I'm in the worst situation I can possibly imagine. On an outdoor ed trip with my 8th grade class. I hate everyone here, and they're all pretty sure I look familiar. This year, we're kayaking on the Colorado River. It's the 3rd night. We get to a new campsite. We're unpacking. We're having dinner. It starts raining, so all the teachers have us get in our tents. A couple minutes later, it starts raining a lot harder, so they come back and say, hey, we need you guys to all go get in these big cinder block bathrooms. So we're all crammed in there, and we're in 8th grade, so everybody's being loud and obnoxious and making stupid jokes. Then the bathrooms start flooding, and the teachers realize that if we don't get to higher ground now, we're going to be caught up in the middle of a huge flash flood. So we scramble up this hill, and at the top is just one house. You know, the kind that like a serial killer would stay at just to like get away from it all, take a break from the rat race. Luckily, the house was owned by a nice older man, so we are not chopped up into tiny pieces and eaten with fondue, but we just have to sit there shivering in his garage while we're waiting out the storm and trying to find some help. Finally, a boat is able to come get us, but when it gets here, the boatman tells us that it's a dual-engine boat, but one of the engines is broken, so he's only able to sail us using the half non-broken engine. Meaning this boat is going so goddamn slow. And so now we're 40 13-year-olds soaked in rain and mud, huddling together for warmth on this boat as it like barely moves. We finally cross over into Arizona, and get to a motel for the night. But as we walk into the motel, we discover that it's haunted. No, that would be overkill. But it is primarily like a biker bar. So there's just these big tattooed guys sitting there drinking whiskey and trying to enjoy their night as these muddy orphans swarm in. We spend the night there. The next day they get us a bus home, and that is still the best outdoor ed trip I've ever been on because that flood got us home a day early. Oh, sorry. You're only into cult horror films or maybe things about stories about a madman infecting the minds of those around him. My high school drama teacher made us celebrate Tom Cruise Week every year. It would be sometime in January because that's near his half birthday. Tom Cruise is not my drama teacher's. It would just be a week to think about and appreciate Tom Cruise. He'd have us take a few minutes of silence at the beginning of each class just to ponder the greatness that is Tom Cruise. He'd also ask us what our favorite Tom Cruise film was. Didn't seem to care whether we had seen or liked the man. To this day, I have never seen a movie with him in it, so I just always said risky business and avoided follow-up questions. This drama teacher also liked messing with the freshmen. On Halloween, he would dress up in this big gingerbread man costume that he owned and sit in a rocking chair on the stage of the auditorium, completely still, so that when the freshmen came in for class, they couldn't tell if it was him in the suit or a dummy he had put there or what. So they would get all freaked out, and then like 10 minutes after class was supposed to start, he would stand up and take off the gingerbread head and start teaching acting. So that probably didn't scar anyone. He also liked, he would most years on the first day that the first safety drill of the year was happening, he would prank the freshmen by telling them that there was a bunker under the school, and that all the teachers and students would go in there if there was ever a big emergency, but that there was a pecking order in that bunker based on your class popularity status. So the drama kids always had to go in last, and not all of them always made it in. He did always tell them he was joking at the end of the class period, though, because he didn't want anybody like endangering themselves or confusing their other friends or whatever. Except one year, he forgot. So let's see. We've got cults, we've got dementors, we've got natural disasters, and old men who live alone on top of hills and really should at least join a book club or something. What else? My middle school was right next to an oil refinery, and I don't think it's why I am the way I am. It was also right above a bunch of abandoned naval houses. Our art class was in one of those houses, so whenever we had art, we had to walk through that abandoned neighborhood and just ignore the sinking feeling that we were being watched by ghosts with right-leaning political beliefs. The fact that we never found someone dead or raised them from it while we were down there is still really surprising to me. So to answer your question, no, I will not watch a horror movie with you, but thank you for asking.
Thank you, Maren. That was spooky. I personally love the horror genre, but you know what? I can't wait for It's Personal's horrifying show on Thursday, October 22nd. This show is going to be terrifying. Heather Samantha, she is new to It's Personal. She is quarantined in New York City. Here is her piece, LA Fantasy.
Hi, hello, it's me, Tiffany Heather Samantha, your favorite quarantine queen. I have one question. Have you ever woken up on the sidewalk at 6 a.m. still drunk from the night before and just thought, what the fuck? Well, if you have, you're in great company. Cecily, 1902. Just kidding. That's the Golden Girls. And swipe. Okay. Picture it. Ah! Oh, that's a bad memory. Let's put that one away and swipe. Okay. For real. Picture it. Me driving into LA in a Ford Mustang convertible that I had rented that week. I had just completed a 6-month contract between Rock of Ages with Norwegian Cruise Lines. Yes! She lived for half the year on the ocean pretending to be on the Sunset Strip in the 80s. And it was time to see the real deal. And possibly find a romance along the way. It was my ultimate LA fantasy. Oh. Well, as soon as I got to my friend's house, I got unscruffed. Oh, Scruff is like Grinder, but for hairier girls. Ooh. Over the next couple days, well, you know, between the sightseeing and the Runyon Canyon Overlook selfies, I engaged in conversation with a few gentlemen. One man stood out. Oh, he was gorgeous. Hairy, beautiful beard, dark skin. Oh, and a body. He wanted to meet one morning, but I had already a full day planned. I told him I would be living my best West Hollywood life that night, but he had to work. Wah, wah. Little did I know that evening would prove to be anything but dull. After a fabulous dinner at Pump, I was ready for action. I mean, have you seen the servers and bartenders? I was horny. So we moved the action over to the Abbey. The drinks were flowing. After about an hour of dancing and acting a fool, I turn around and there he is, my gorgeous guy, who I will lovingly refer to as Gigi from here on out. Gigi told me he had to work, but what he failed to divulge was that he was a go-go boy / server at the Abbey. I wanted to chat, but I was nervous, and he was incredibly busy. We kept making eyes from across the dance floor. A sensible eye, fuck never hurt anyone, right? But alas, it was time to go. So I did what any self-respecting queer would do, and I messaged him on Scruff. Oh my God, I frantically typed, "You're gorgeous." Oh, you're even more beautiful in real life. I nervously awaited his response. I mean, what if he didn't like me IRL? In real life. Then bam, text. I get off work in 20 minutes if you want to come over. Ah! It was happening. My ultimate LA fantasy. We would have sex all night, fall in love, and the wedding would follow afterwards. I had it all worked out in my head. When I arrived, I was ready for action, and we got down to business. Our bodies felt like the last piece in a puzzle being put into place. Perfect fit and incredibly satisfying. As I looked down at Gigi's sculpted, perfectly plump bubble butt, I became even more aroused. Oh, I can still picture the glistening dark hair that lined his ass crack. As I looked down and I was about to penetrate him with my engorged. He looks up at me and he says, "Do you like Persian guys?" I said, "Babe, I like Persians, purses, poppers, poppins. You know, from the legendary House of Mary." And then we fucked. I had a mind-blowing orgasm, but I was still horny. I mean, I had been out to sea for 6 months. Oh! As I tried to go again, he rolls over and he's like, "I can't, I'm tired, I'm so sorry." Well, consent is sexy, so I stopped, and I was like, what the fuck? That's it? It's over? My fantasy is shattered? No wedding? Is this like a one-time wham bam, thank you ma'am type of situation? Then he rolls over and he says, "But you can fuck my roommate. He's hotter than me anyways." I was like, ooh. What the fuck? He was like, "Yeah, I'll just send him a couple of your pictures." And before I had time to truly process what had just transpired, Gigi's like, "Yeah, he's in the room next door. He's ready." Baby, when I tell you, when I opened that door, I could not believe what I saw. Gigi was right. If it was even possible, another beautiful man lay naked before me. And round 2 commenced. Another hot fuck session. Ugh. After we both finished. The sun was coming up and, well, it's time to leave. Gigi was asleep by then anyways. As I stepped out into the sun, waiting for my Uber, the harsh reality of daytime made me wince. I mean, what the fuck just happened? I showed up to LA for a romance, and I ended up in a Bellamy porn instead. I mean, by participating in these carnal desires, had I compromised a part of what I wanted? But as the bright Los Angeles sun beat down on my skin, I couldn't help but feel I was more alive than ever. After all, my body, my choice. It's my party and I'll fuck if I want to!
Thank you, Tiffany, Heather, Samantha. I feel so dirty. Maybe I need to wash off with our new Lemon In on a Secret soap bar. Only $10 on Instagram on itspersonalonstage.com. Last but certainly not least, we have Skyler Thomas. She is quarantined in Hernando, Mississippi. Here's her piece, Rude, Ungrateful, and Selfish.
So, here are two sexist creeds that society teaches women and girls. Number one, the blame is always on us. And number two, if we turn men down, we are rude, ungrateful, and selfish. It's really insane how society teaches us from such an early age that we're inferior to men, and even more so that we're at the mercy of men. When I was in 5th grade, it was commonly known that boys like to pop girls' bra straps. The teachers knew and they never did anything about it. It was just something we had to accept. But even more than that, we were taught that we should be flattered by it. They're flirting with you. It's so cute. I remember one day I purposefully didn't wear a bra so that they would leave me alone. And I was relentlessly made fun of for it because only babies didn't wear bras. When I was in 7th grade, on a choir trip, a group of guys from the boys' choir started complimenting my ass to my face. There they were, a group of 7th and 8th grade boys literally circling me and sexualizing me, and I stood there smiling uncomfortably, knowing I was supposed to be enjoying the attention. When I was in 8th grade, a guy that I was friends with asked me on a date. You know, as much as you can date when you're 13 with adult supervision. I was not remotely interested in him. In fact, I was very interested in a different guy, and he knew this. But I was taught not to say no, even if I wanted to. So after I agreed, I tried desperately to get out of it. But every time I brought it up to friends or even adults who happen to know the situation, they echoed the sentiment that I should feel lucky. Long story short, the date was awful, and I told him I wasn't interested in him, and he proceeded to make me feel terrible about it for the rest of the 4 years that we were in school together. Over the next few years, I was in many situations where guys who I wasn't remotely interested in would kiss me, and I thought that I just had to sit there and take it. And then when I would tell them that I just wanted to be friends, they would say things like, wow, you led me on. Or, I don't even like you. I was just doing it for you. I remember when I first moved to LA, I met this guy at work and he seemed pretty cool. So we decided to hang out. We went and got lunch and ended up going back to his house after he wanted to quickly show me around after I told him I had to leave. As soon as we got in his room, he shut the door and started making out with me. So I made an excuse and left. And then when I politely told him that I wasn't interested in him that way, he said, wow, I was just trying to do you a favor. You're the one who said you didn't have any friends in LA. I was just trying to help you out. Because number one, the blame is always on us. And number two, if we turn men down, we are rude, ungrateful, and selfish. That's why when I was raped, I didn't even realize it at first. It was shortly after I graduated college. I was depressed. I had gained 20 pounds. I was totally lost as to what I wanted to do or where I wanted to go. So I turned to my favorite self-esteem boosting app, Tinder. And I matched with this guy, and he seemed pretty cool. Plus, we had mutual friends. And our first date was great. And we went on a few more dates after that, and we even introduced each other to our respective friends. He really seemed like someone I could trust. Now, I don't really want to go into the details of what happened, but basically, there was touching. I said no. He pretended he didn't hear me. So I told him to stop. And he said something along the lines of, "Come on, it's no big deal." I told him to stop again. He didn't. But all of this was done so quietly and gently that I thought it was okay. It wasn't until the next day when I was telling my friends about what happened that I realized what happened. I relayed the events to them like I was telling them what I had for lunch. Oh, and I told him to stop, but he didn't. Anyway, and I remember my two friends looking at each other and then back at me, and one friend said, that's not okay. And as they drove me to the closest Walgreens to get a Plan B pill, the reality of the situation started to sink in. Before that, I never understood why women felt like they were to blame for rape. I mean, how could a woman possibly be to blame? But there I was in the back of my friend's car going over and over it in my head saying, well, I should have been more forceful when I told him to stop. He's a nice guy. He probably just had more to drink than I thought. And I shouldn't have gone over there. I should have been more prepared. And I should feel flattered that he wanted that with me. Because, number one, the blame is always on us. And number two, if we turn men down, we are rude, ungrateful, and selfish. What's even crazier, I got on Facebook shortly after, and my rapist was praising the book We Should All Be Feminists and speaking out against toxic masculinity. Like the incident between us never happened. But to be honest, I don't really think about him or what happened very much. I've spent the years since then undoing all the sexist creeds I was taught as a child that were reinforced as a teenager and that damaged my self-esteem into adulthood. But things are different now. I'm a confident and empowered woman, and I will not be silent anymore. And I have dated and befriended some kick-ass guys over the years. Guys who love my independence, guys who always respect my boundaries and who would never even think about putting me in an uncomfortable situation. And I've since talked with some of the guys who once forcibly kissed me, who have educated themselves and apologized and have been feminist advocates ever since. This gives me hope. And as crazy as it sounds, I'm glad this happened to me. Because someday, if I'm lucky, I'll have a daughter of my own. And you can be damn sure if a boy tries to pop her bra straps, she will not smile and take it. She will bravely speak up and educate. Or she'll lay him out. Either one.
Thank you, Skyler, and thank you to all our performers, and thank you for joining us tonight. If you want more information on It's Personal, you can visit our website at itspersonalonstage.com or follow us on Instagram at itspersonalonstage. If you haven't already donated to It's Personal, you can do so on Venmo at, you guessed it, It's Personal on Stage. 25% of the proceeds will go to Fair Fight, an organization fighting for election reform. And don't forget to make sure you are registered to vote, because nothing is more WTF than 2020. Join us next month on the fourth Thursday of the month for our Halloween-themed horrifying show. Thank you. Have a great night.
Niggas be playing, yeah. Industry games, yeah. Rapping, but they not in love with it. Think it's a shame, yeah. I'm about to pop on some other shit. Think it's a control where I land. Royal flush nigga, the cards in my hand. Tryna stack all these M's. All of my idols is friends. Came to the fight with some Tims. Will I let up? It depends. Through the struggle, I don't run from trouble, no breaking. I just wanna bend. Won't be defeated, I'm hella conceited. I ride on that beat like a band. I am the one from the stories that got you excited. Rhythmic flow is ignited. I was so easy for her to recite it. Can do this shit while